Ms. Legalista here. Thank you for joining the video. This is going to be a long video, and I'm probably not going to break this up as much because I want you to hear this story. Every time I think that there's not some fraudster out there who can't be topped, this one gets topped all back over again. And I never can understand why people think that they're not going to get caught. Like, I totally don't understand this. Are you not thinking that someone's going to realize that the money didn't go to the person that you claim the money went to, that the documents that you provided to this other party were fraudulent, that wasn't that person's signature? How do you think this is going to continue to look real when there's so many holes in it? It is unbelievable to me. It should not be, but I just don't understand how people think that you're going to get away with something that is so obviously wrong. Now, it might take a while for people to go through the court system, as it was in this case, to be able to say, hey, that is not me. I did not have that loan. Yeah, hire an attorney, go through the process, clear it all up. But my goodness, the FBI is now involved. You've got a company that seems like it's been scammed on top of these property owners. It is just way too much. Let me hit play here so we can get started.
Investigator David Hammer has been tracking a spate of real estate fraud this year, and tonight he exposes a new kind of fraud involving a Metairie contractor and fake home improvement loans.
David Bryan and his wife Anne Marie both grew up in New Orleans. They met at Tulane.
About 25 years ago, we moved away to Minneapolis.
But now they're missing home.
We're going to be retiring soon, and we still have family and friends here, and we wanted to come back once we're both retired.
They bought this uptown house last year, ready to make it their forever home. Then one day this spring, David got this in the mail.
You owe $45,000 on a loan, no payment due right now. It seemed kind of fishy, but you get those every once in a while,
Okay, yes, we all get those notices in the mail, right? Most of the time they look like they're offers for loans, not necessarily a package saying here are your loan documents. This was probably the first tip-off. It's also a reminder to us to make sure we're opening those packages that come in the mail, be them just a small envelope or a big one that is making an offer to you. You want to be sure now that that's what it is and that it's not some setup like this.
You've been pre-approved, so I kind of ignored it, but it was suspicious enough that I hung on to it. And the next month I get another one.
It was from a California lender called GoodLeap, which offers home equity loans for energy-efficient projects like solar panels or new doors and windows. Bryan had never heard of GoodLeap. He asked the lender to send him documents from this supposed loan. There's his name on the loan application and an electronic signature.
Now, okay. A lot of places are doing these document signings electronically. Usually, when you're doing something of this nature, the company on the other end will say, hey, that signature has to be notarized. Therefore, you will have to have a notary on site, or we'll send someone there who, or use it electronically. Some states have electronic notaries now, who will verify that the person's signature that you see right there, highlighted in that David Bryan, is actually the person who's signing the document. Now, this isn't covered in this particular video that we're watching here. It's something that they left off. I don't know if they did it or not. It's not very clear. But this makes the case for saying you always want to have a notary present. Now, remember, back with Graceland, the whole Graceland incident and that fraudulent incident, they went ahead and stamped a notary seal up there, only it was fake. So there are ways, I'm telling you, some of these fraudsters will come up with every way in the book. They will check every dot and think that they have made it successful, when in fact, no, it's going to fall apart.
But the only thing that matched the real record was your name.
Was my name.
Not your social security number?
Nope, not my phone number, not my email address, nothing. On the whole process from beginning to end, they didn't seem to do their due diligence. Not on the loan application.
Not on paying the loan proceeds either.
GoodLeap
And
paid the construction company directly, Deep South Renovations. And they did it, and they didn't have any proof that the work was done or anything. They just took their word for it that the work was done, paid them directly the $45,000.
GoodLeap slapped a UCC lien on Brian's property for the unpaid loan.
Right now, go to your state. Make sure you don't have a UCC loan filed on your property, whether or not you're even doing any renovations. At the end of this video, they're going to talk about a notification process. Some states are trying to look at having an automatic notification system so that if something is filed against your property, you receive an email, or maybe you receive a letter in the mail. Right now, you are your own notification process. You have to go and check.
It said he got solar panels, but he didn't. Deep South Renovations told GoodLeap Brian got new doors and windows. He didn't, and he's far from alone.
A UCC lien is where a creditor is putting a lien on a property to put others on notice that he has an interest in something in the property, whether it be furniture, equipment, or in this case, we had solar panels. Solar panels that never existed on the property, but that's what the UCC lien said.
Lauren Griffin is a real estate attorney at Crescent Title. One of her clients also got a lien from GoodLeap, also for solar panels that never got installed, also for $45,000 that went to Deep South Renovations.
The only way that my client found out is because someone notified him, someone who also was a victim of these UCC liens.
I figured that I couldn't possibly be the only victim. So I went back to land records and I printed out, at my expense, about $250, copies of all GoodLeap liens in Orleans Parish.
This third victim said he's afraid to give his name because he's the one who filed this police report against Deep South Renovations and reached out to warn as many people with GoodLeap liens as he could find.
And subsequently, I heard back from about 8.
Now the FBI is investigating.
The FBI called me and they said, no, it's more than 10. It's more than one lending company.
Law enforcement sources say GoodLeap paid Deep South almost $1 million for about 20 bogus loans.
I've spoken to the FBI twice, but I know that they're investigating.
Investigating Deep South and its owner, Samantha McGee.
I know that her contractor's license for this fake company that she established has been removed.
This is Deep South's supposed office, a vacant storefront in Metairie. We found McGee recently took out a $450,000 purchase bond on this Metairie townhouse. The seller says McGee paid the first $50,000 and stopped, and now he's going to have to evict her. U.S. Marshals confirmed they went to the house last year to arrest McGee for failing to show up in federal court on an unrelated matter. Neighbors saw her pull up in her late model Mercedes, but she wouldn't answer the door or any of our phone and text messages.
I think it's really galling that somebody can get away with this so easily. Extraordinarily easy, because GoodLeap doesn't do any due diligence.
GoodLeap Vice President Jesse Comart says the lender has, quote, an extensive due diligence and fraud prevention process. But he says GoodLeap was victimized by, quote, a highly sophisticated group that appears to have the ability to create or obtain fraudulent Social Security numbers and then associate the SSNs with innocent property owners.
Now, again, part of this goes back to this digital and electronic economy that we have right now. Yes, it provides us with a lot of convenience, but that convenience also makes it easier for scammers and fraudsters who are trying to circumvent due diligence process that some of these companies do have in place. Like I mentioned earlier with Graceland, Elvis's home. Who would have thought that a scammer would try to go after Graceland with some documents claiming that there was this outstanding loan that had not been paid? And therefore, the scammer said, we're going to foreclose on Graceland. If scammers can go after Graceland, don't think that they will not come after your property too. In this case, there may have been some additional things that they could have done. I'm talking about GoodLeap here to protect themselves. But we don't really know because we don't know their whole process. I can imagine that given the number of issues that they run into now that they've been notified about, that they're probably taking a look at some of those processes and doing something different. They're probably taking a look at their training and making sure that their employees know what to look for when it comes to fraud. I'm a little surprised that they jumped into this and that they did not have more boxes to check in terms of giving this money out. It's as easy as saying we're going to have an escrow agent in the middle of this, someone who says, hey, we're sending somebody out to take a look at the property, make sure that work was done, and then we release the check to the construction company. There, I don't know. It just sounds like a lot of balls got dropped in this. And it happens because these parties are in these distant places as opposed to people being right there on site. But in the end, here's the thing. If you don't know that there's a UCC filing on your property because you haven't done any work, why would you go check? But again, all of this is, it's a big deal now. The FBI is involved. It doesn't look like anybody's going to get away with anything here.
He says GoodLeap referred the case to the FBI in Sacramento and has been cooperating with the federal investigation.
UCC liens are now a new kind of fraud that we haven't seen before. And so when we first got this call, this was new to us. But fraudsters are trying anything they can right now.
In the meantime, Griffin says property owners should guard against those fraudsters.
To protect themselves, people can freeze their credit. If you're in Jefferson or St. Tammany, there are systems in place where they notify you if anything's been placed on your property. But hopefully the other parishes will follow suit in that, and that everyone can be notified if something is put on your property, whether it's real or fraudulent.
The Orleans Parish Clerk's Office says it's in the final testing stages for a new notification system like the ones in Jefferson and St. Tammany parishes. Property owners will be able to opt in for email alerts starting in January.
That would be great. That would be great. I'm sure a lot of people would find that helpful because a lot of people don't even know where to go look. Even if we put the information online, I have people who just say, well, tell me where that is. How do I even find that? And when I get to the website, how do I do the search? If you're not a person who's accustomed to doing real estate searches, then yeah, there is a learning curve there. I think they're doing a really good thing by having this notification process. But it was interesting to hear her say this was sort of new for the title company that she works with, this UCC lien fraud. I'm definitely going to have another category now. I'm putting together a list of, I don't want to call it Q&A, but my whole game in terms of here's the question, you tell me the answer. And one of them is going to be, what is UCC lien fraud? I'll have A, B, and C, and you can choose from among those choices to figure out which one it is. And we'll get a game going here to help people learn a little bit more about these situations that they should be looking out for. And I tell you, it's very difficult to just live your life knowing that now you got to do all this extra stuff because scammers and fraudsters are out there all the time. Let's see how they're wrapping this up.
Too late for people who only learned about GoodLeap liens while trying to sell their houses or get legitimate loans. And too late for victims like Brian, who had to pay a lawyer and fight for 6 months to get the lien removed last month.
If it didn't happen to me, I'd sit back and think, boy, this is ingenious,
At least he can laugh about it now before he needs a real loan to start the real work on his retirement dream home.
A few things to walk away from this with, and I sort of already said some of these. One is, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but it is your responsibility now to stay on top of this. It's my responsibility now. Nobody else is going to do this for us in most places across the country because there is no automatic notification system yet that is standard across the country. Once we get to that point, yes, it will be easier for you to find out that somebody else has already placed this fraudulent lien on your property. But again, this notification system sounds like it's set up after the fact, after they have filed the lien. So yes, you have noticed, but now you got to go fight to get this lien off of your property if it's fraudulent. It does look like there's a missing step there that says, hey, somebody needs to double check and make sure that this lien is good before it's actually filed. I don't know. I don't have all the answers on this. There's some hiccups with that, with saying every lien is now going to have to go through 5 more steps. I don't know what the answer is, but I do believe that this notification process will at least be helpful in terms of helping people find out sooner that there are these liens on their property. The other thing is just sort of sharing this information so that people, go through every once in a while. And so on sort of regular basis, maybe quarterly, you say, okay, quarterly, I'm going to do this thorough check on everything. I'm going to see if there's anything registered on me. I'm going to see if there's anything registered on my property. I'm going to pull my credit report to see what's up there. Maybe I'll look at buying other additional property insurance that covers some of this. So yeah, I'm sorry. Things are different. I feel worn out and tired and exhausted just having to talk about this because this is so much, but it continues to go on. It's just nonstop. But the final piece is it looks like the FBI has stepped in. As I said earlier, I don't know how this person thought that they were going to get away with this. If you're putting fake liens out there, well, eventually the person's going to say that's not right. There's going to be this whole investigation, and people are going to find out that it's fake, and you are going to probably go to jail. So, you guys, keep your eyes and ears open. Do the research that you need to do. Stay informed and make sure you share this information with other people. All right. If you have learned something more that you probably didn't want to learn, but you go, okay, yeah, I got it. I'm tired of this too. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Mwah. Peace.